And then the other direction. Yep, ankles too. Okay, and then this one's a little bit more challenging, and tell me if it hurts because I know you've had a hip flexor injury recently. But I want you to lift your legs away from the saddle and circle them around. There you go. See, Cole says, oh, she's doing something up there. Hey, what are you doing up there? And then the other direction, good. Okay. And then go ahead and let your legs hang. I want you to, if you're able to, I want you to take your leg and put your hand on your boot. And it's almost like a thigh stretch, except what we're getting after is this part, and that's your hip flexors. Okay, so your left leg. So don't do this if it hurts, but do what you can with it. So the trick to this exercise is you have to sit really equally on both seat bones. There you go. Now are you feeling a stretch here? Good. And if this hurts, you don't want to do it because we don't want to make things worse. Okay, go ahead and let your leg down. And then are you able to do it with the other leg? Okay, so go ahead and try it. Is it okay? All right. Okay, so she says it's cramping a little bit near her gluteal muscles, which tells me that her flexors are really tight. So we don't want to push it because we know Sheridan also does Olympic weightlifting, and so we don't want to, and so her hip flexor injury came from one of her Olympic weightlifting exercises, and so we don't want to aggravate that. So when she lifted her left leg, which is the leg that was injured with the hip flexor, she started having some cramping through her gluteal muscles, which says her hip flexor is really tight, which makes sense with the injury that she had. So we don't want to push it. We want to get a little bit more ability through the hip flexors, but if it hurts, don't do it. Good rule of thumb. So the next thing that I want you to do, and this is called centering. I want you to put one hand on your belly button, with your thumb on your belly button. So the rest of your hand's going to be pretty low. And then Rebecca will hold his head up because he's thinking about rolling because the dirt is soft. And then with your other hand back on your low back. I want you to take a real deep breath into your hands. There you go. When you take a deep breath out, look at me for a second, I want you to rotate like this. There you go. Can you feel Cole starting to back up? That's Cole's body cue for reverse, for going back. So I'm going to do that one more time. There you go. And I still want you to sit straight, so you're not necessarily in 2-point, but you're very straight. I just want your pelvis rotated backwards a little. There you go. So if you were to imagine that your pelvis is a bowl full of water, I want you to, with your hands where they are, I want you to take it and I want you to tip the bowl forwards until you're pouring water out the front. There you go. No, ignore your chest and your shoulders completely. I just want you thinking about that space between your hands. Yeah. And then I want you to turn and pour water all the way out the back. Can you pour it even more? Okay, do you mind if I put my hands on you? Okay. So this is her center of gravity, and that's why we're getting after this, because when you get your center of gravity where it's supposed to be, your jumping is so much easier because the gravity just pulls you the forces to go over. So go ahead and take a deep breath, and I want you to move this hand to my back. There you go. Do it again. Yeah, feel that? Okay, now this is your pelvis tilting water out the back. So now I want you to take a deep breath and move this hand. There, see her pouring water out the front? Okay, deep breath and move this hand and back. I want your shoulders to stay in the same place. I just want your middle to move. That's it. And then same place and pour it over the front. Yes. And then same place, pour it over the front. Perfect. So it's sort of subtle. I'm hoping you can see from where you are what she's after, what we're doing. She's able to rotate the pelvis with anterior and posterior tilt. And the reason we're doing that is we're going to have her come through a line jumping towards the audience so they can see. What's happening is she goes over the course, especially as the fences get bigger, you need way more rotation through your pelvis. So Sherry, go ahead and trot through. Well, before we have you trot through, let's have you ride around for a minute just to kind of work that in. go. So just walk around for a minute. I want you to experiment a little bit with rotating your pelvis forward and back. Here you go. And while this stuff isn't strictly jumping exercises, you have to fix these kinds of things before you're going to get a really good jump horse. There you go. Okay, go ahead and ask him for his canter, Sheridan. And I want you to come down that line of 3 fences, just like we were doing before. Fix your lead. Now rotate your pelvis so there's water out the back. Yes. Also, dude, I'm tired. I'm doing this for almost an hour. There you go. On your next circuit around, come through this line of 3 down the angle. Good. Yeah. Good. Can you feel how much more motion you have in your pelvis that time? And she didn't get popped out of the tack all that time because she was able to rotate her pelvis the way she needed to. Another thing, go ahead and let him walk, Sharon. Another thing that helped was she reshortened her stirrups a little bit, and your shock absorbers when you're jumping are your joints. So your ankles, your knees, and your hips, those are going to be what absorbs all motion from when the horse takes off the springs and from when the horse lands. Basically, you're standing on your stirrups and you've got to use all of your joints to absorb that motion. Good boy. All right, so why don't we put this all together? And I'm going to come back down to this end and I'll draw out the rest of the course for you guys.